Not happy now? Well, then you're never happy. Because if you're tricking yourself into believing that once you get this thing, once you accomplish that goal, once you achieve all your dreams, then you can be happy, you're tricking yourself out of your happiness. That whole thing is a loop to keep you in the loop. You're gonna stay in the loop because you're in the loop, and you're telling yourself that you're gonna get out of the loop by doing another loop. And you're just gonna keep looping forever. And that's the hard truth that many of us don't want to face. We think that really, things will change. It'll get better. We will be happier, not now, but in the future. And the truth is, you can only work on your happiness right here, right now. So if you're not okay with something, try accepting it. If you don't like a situation, change it, do something about it, or just come to terms with it. Settle down. And really, being happy has much more to do with perception than it has to do with objective reality. See, we think that it's because we don't have it as good as someone else, or logically speaking, we're just not where we should be right now, but it's all very emotional. And we are emotional beings, and we are ruled by our emotions. And so letting that take your life and take your happiness away from you is rather silly. If you really just want to be happy, try saying, I'm happy now. I'm okay with everything that's going on. I'm okay with my life. I like my life. I like the type of person that I am. I don't have to become better or do something extraordinary to just enjoy my life. Can you be happy sitting in the room quietly for 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, a couple of hours? Or will you lose your mind and you have to do something? That's the litmus test to really know whether or not you are happy. Because no matter where you go and no matter what fancy things you're doing or achieving, that baseline will not lift until you work on the baseline. Working on stuff outside of the baseline will not lift the baseline. You lift the baseline with a simple technique of mindfulness meditation, or with a practice of self-acceptance, or with a gratitude journal, or something of this manner that's self-development oriented, something that's actually working on the happiness, the real core thing, not on a bunch of external solutions that you think will bring you that. If you can't be happy climbing the mountain, don't tell yourself that you're going to be happy once you're at the top. Find a mountain that's fun to climb, and then when you're at the top, you'll be like, oh, that was a great climb. Enjoy the climb, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and you'll find that all of a sudden, you can be happy. Not happy now? Never happy. Not happy climbing the mountain? Not going to be much happier at the top. Keep that in mind, and whatever goals you're setting, whatever you're trying to do in your life right now, this is so important, because tricking and deluding yourself is only going to lead to more misery once you're at the top. And I don't want you miserable at the top. You might as well realize that you'll be miserable the whole way and then change mountains, climb something else, or go to the beach if you don't like it. That's a much better solution. It's a much better alternative. You'll be much more at ease with yourself. And you won't be stressing trying to get somewhere, thinking that once you're there, then everything will be okay. If it's not okay now, it won't be okay later. Find self-acceptance in this moment. Find peace in this moment. Find happiness and bliss in this moment. Because really, that's the only place it can ever exist. We don't know how long you're going to be around for. I don't know how long I'll be around for. But I know that right now, in this moment, as I'm recording this video, I can be happy. I can be at peace. I can be okay with everything in my life. Myself, all the people in the world, everything that's going on. Just fully come to terms with it. And enjoy. Because it's meant to be enjoyed. So stop stressing yourself. Stop tensing and trying to make it so difficult, and saying that the solution and the happiness will be in the future, because it really will not be. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're experiencing a negative or a bad emotion is trying to resist it, trying to deny it, trying not to let it in. For example, if you're feeling a little sad or upset, you might go, oh, I don't want to feel sad. No, and then you resist it and you tense up. Or anxiety, it kicks in, and instead of just allowing it, you try to fight it. You don't want to feel it. You don't like this. And what that does is actually amplify things and make them even worse. And it's really not helpful to yourself at all. Whatever you resist, it actually persists. And the more you resist it, the harder it persists, and the longer it will persist for. So the easiest solution, the quickest way to actually get out of this negative downward spiral is simply to embrace. Embrace that you're feeling bad. Embrace that you're feeling sad. Embrace whatever it is that you're feeling. And all of a sudden, the feeling doesn't hold nearly as much power over you. And to make this more practical, one of the best ways to embrace it is just to say, I love this feeling. I love the way I'm feeling. It's okay for me to feel this. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel anxiety. It's okay to feel a little upset or frustrated or peeved. Okay, so if that emotion is all of a sudden okay, it actually starts to fade out. All of a sudden, it's not intensifying, you're not adding fuel to the fire anymore by resisting it, and it starts to lose its grip on you very, very quickly. Then what you can do is say, you know what, actually, I don't feel so anxious anymore. I don't feel so upset anymore. Because you're embracing it, you're allowing it, it starts to fade out. Now you're saying, hey, look, actually, it's not that bad. You know what, one reason that I'm happy is fill out the blank, come up with something. It's a nice day outside. I'm breathing and I'm alive. I ate some nice food. I don't know, anything to just up the mood a little bit. You don't need a lot. You've ended the downwards negative spiral by saying I embrace, I'm okay with this emotion. Now you're saying there's a reason for me to feel happy, and all of a sudden you've deactivated this little loop. You've basically killed off the negative emotion. You're not letting it take over you like a parasite. You're not feeding it anymore. You're denying it by actually embracing it. It's very counterintuitive, but it's also very effective. And once you notice that it's fading out, you're saying, hey, there's a reason for me to feel happy. There's a reason for me to be in a good mood. There's a reason for me to actually feel positive emotions. All of a sudden they start to kick in, and you've completely flipped the whole thing on its head. And guess what you did? You embraced it. You didn't fight it. You didn't try to resist. You actually just let it in, and you showed it the door by simply saying, it's okay. Thanks for visiting. Thanks for stopping by sadness, upset, frustration, anger. Thanks for coming by, but now it's time for you to go because I'm actually having another guest come over. His name is Happy, and I like him a lot more than you, so I'm gonna show you the door. That simple, that easy. You'll feel a lot better, and you won't have to keep fighting and resisting and tensing up and trying not to feel upset, because it's actually quite okay. And emotions, they come in waves, they come and go, and if you learn how to show them the door effectively, the bad ones will leave very quickly, and the positive ones will enter even faster. You know, when you hear a great story, or watch an amazing movie, or maybe listen to some great music that really hits you in the feels, you know, your heart, or it gets you excited, it gets you feeling happy. Maybe a movie that makes you feel scared, terrified. Maybe you can even experience anxiety from what's happening on the screen. The power of content is amazing. It can bring out some really intense emotions in us. But what you really need to understand is that you have the power to trigger these emotions just as well as people outside of you, videos you watch, music, books you read. You have that same power because other people can't make you feel something that you're not capable of feeling. It's something that's already in you, and all that's happening is when you're watching that scary, scary film, that fear is really just being triggered and lit up, activated, if you will. And you feeling this intense emotion, it's really a result of what's in you. You have that intense emotion. And you have two choices. You can either go through your life being triggered, having these emotions being activated at random times, or you can take control of them. You can say, I'm going to be the master of these emotions. I'm going to control when they happen, when they come up, what I feel, when I feel it. I'm actually going to be deliberate about using my emotions rather than being used by them. Because not only Do you feel some intense emotion when you watch a scary movie or listen to some great music? You also feel emotions around fears in your life. You feel emotions around rejection, anticipation, maybe apprehension. And all of these are holding you back from achieving your goals because they're making you feel like you can't accomplish your goals. You can't reach your destination. That somehow you're not good enough. They convince you that, hey, you don't have it in you. That fear can take over. It can take the wheel. It starts with, oh God, I'm a little scared. And then it becomes, I don't want to do anything anymore. I just want to stay in my house and I'm afraid to go outside. And even if you're not on that level, even if you're not that extreme, I really want you to consider the power that your emotions have had over you up to this point. And consider making the switch to where you take control of your emotions and you start using them yourself. Take over. Make it manual. Make your life manual, a manual drive, not automatic. And in that case, you can actually choose which emotion you want to experience at any given time. So right now, if I wanted to feel a little happier, it would be pretty simple. I just have to think about a couple of good experiences in my life. Memory is one of the easiest ways. Some things that happened that really made me feel joy and pleasure, and it lit me up. And the moment I start thinking about that, already I can start to sense the endorphin rush. I can start to sense that, hey, this is good. I feel great. And then if I change my body language accordingly, how does a happy person really look? Are they like this? Oh God, I don't want to do anything. I don't know what's going on. I'm scared. That's not a happy person, right? A happy person, they smile a lot. A happy person, they probably have a pep in their step, so to speak. And generally their energy is pretty lighthearted. They're not getting caught up. They're feeling good. It's that simple, right? And this is a very light example of it. You could get even more intense. You could start thinking about all the good things that might happen in your life. All the good things that have happened, of course, the memories. The people that you appreciate, that you love, the people that care about you, the people around you in your life that you value, maybe some of the possessions that you've acquired that you really, really cherish. All of this could make you feel a little happier, just putting your attention on it. I recently had eye surgery, laser eye surgery. That's why I keep wearing sunglasses outside, to protect my eyes. And this was a dream of mine. It was something that I wanted ever since I was young because I always struggled with my eyesight. I always had to wear glasses, and I just really wanted to be able to see without having frames on my head. Now, ironically, I'm walking around with sunglasses now. But the point is, it was a big dream for me, and I really, really wanted it. And I got it done, and I felt like, wow, this is amazing. I'm so happy. It was expensive, but I did it. I made it happen. I feel great. And then what happened was, slowly but surely, my attention started drifting away from it. I started forgetting about it. I wasn't noticing it anymore, In the beginning, I was so grateful. I was so happy about that I could see. And everything was clear. And I was able to do my work better. And it was all just perfect. But after a while, the human mind, it has a tendency to just get accustomed. It just gets used to where it is. And so what happened for me was I started taking it for granted. I stopped paying attention to it. And before you know it, it's almost like I never had one of my dreams become a reality. I never had this thing come true. And that's what happens to so many of us is we achieve that goal. We get something that we're really looking forward to. And then all the gratitude leaves. We get accustomed, we get used to it. And then it doesn't make us feel good anymore. So my suggestion to you is, just like what I did myself, put your attention back on that thing that made you feel so great. Keep reminding yourself of how grateful you are. It's one of the things that I think about daily is how grateful I am to be able to see properly. And the price to pay of protecting my eyes a little bit is a very small price that I'm very happy with. But you could easily become frustrated. You could easily say, oh, what was the point anyway? And I've had those feelings, but you have to take control. You see, that's the difference between living as an emotional victim and actually taking control of your emotions and realizing that, hey, you know what? You can feel however you want to feel, whenever you want to feel it, just by putting your attention on the thing that you want to feel. Just by realizing what's the emotion that I want, when did I last feel that way, what are some intense experiences that I have had feeling that way, combine all of that, start thinking about all the things that will happen that will make you feel that way, and before you know it, you have taken control of your emotions. You're no longer a victim, and you actually have the power to feel whatever it is that you want. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make when it comes to handling your own emotions is to try to think your way out of how you're feeling. Trying to convince yourself that you don't feel like this and you shouldn't feel like this and it's not the right thing and you should be feeling something different is a recipe for disaster, really. It doesn't get you anywhere. It makes you feel even more trapped in your head and the emotions just flare up even more and you're not going to be able to let them go because the more that you're thinking about it, the more you're amplifying it. You see, it's the good old Tony Robbins saying, motion creates emotion, not thinking and trying to analyze and rationalize creates emotion. All that does is trap you further in your problem. So if you want to process your emotions or change your emotions, the best way that you can do that is through motion. Go do something different than what you're doing that's making you feel what you're feeling. If what you're doing right now is making you feel a certain way, chances are doing something else would make you feel differently. And that could be subtle. It could be going for a run, it could be going for a walk, it could be trying a brand new business venture. That's motion too, completely changing your career, or finally going on a date after all this time that your heart has been broken and you've been introverted and not out there, putting yourself out there. Whatever it is for you, make a shift. Perhaps even dare to make a drastic shift, because that's when your emotions will shift drastically, right? Drastic shifts are the shifts that make your emotions shift drastically. It makes a lot of sense. The more intense your move is, the more intense your actions are, the more of a difference you'll feel inside of you. So if you're not happy with how you're feeling, stop trying to think, stop trying to play mind games with yourself. Do something else. Maybe it's about giving a great big bear hug, or maybe it's about speaking from your heart next time instead of trying to say the right thing that makes people like you. You have to act and show up in a different way. You have to move. You have to create some motion. So what type of motion will you create to get the emotion that you desire? How do you want to feel? And then what would you have to do to get yourself to feel that way? Think about that. See, I know that I want to feel joy. And so I'm here shooting this video for you because that makes me feel joy. I like to share. I like to talk about self-development, self-improvement, business. These are the things that make me light up, that I enjoy. I know that if I go on the coaching call with a client, I'm going to have a great time because I love doing it. I know that when I'm working with a company, I'm going to have a blast because I'm working on processes and improving people, right? I'm doing what I love doing. So what do you like doing? If you're after joy, find where your joy is, chase after that, and all of a sudden your emotions are changing drastically. I know that if I exercise or go outside, in general, even just filming this, moving around, I'm gonna feel light, free. I'm gonna feel maybe even ecstatic, right? Some sense of deep happiness is gonna start to come, because if you're just sitting in front of the computer all day, if you're building a business or if you're trying to do work, you can get very stagnant. So maybe go work outside. Maybe go into a cafe and do some of your work there. Now get out of your head and into your body. Do something different, because if you're feeling a way that you don't want to feel, you got to do something else that will make you feel what you want to feel. And I know that I'm stressing this really intensely, but it's because I see this mistake over and over and over again, and it's frustrating to watch people be frustrated. And I want you to be happy and enjoy your life. And the best way that you can do that is do things that make you feel happy and enjoy your life. I know, it makes a lot of sense. I know, it's really simple. I know, duh, Raphael. Wow, big, epiphany. But are you doing it? That's the question, right? Because I knew this when I was 15 years old. I kind of had a general idea at least. What was I doing? Sitting there playing video games all day. How are you gonna feel? Like trash, probably, right? Probably. So what can you do? What can you do to make yourself feel good? Maybe drop it in the comments below so that other people can have a suggestion, share it. Don't just keep it to yourself, get it out there. Maybe get some ideas. I've given you a few. Make a list for yourself. Call it the joy list. Things that I'll do if I'm not feeling great to make myself feel better. Maybe it's a warm bath. Maybe it's about playing with your pet if you have a dog or something, right? It could be so simple, but it shifts you out of that weird cloudy space. Maybe just take a shower. Well, I already took a shower this morning. We'll take another one. If you're not in the right space, find ways to shift yourself out of it. Move. Remember, motion creates emotion. And stop trying to analyze and think your way out of it, because it's never gonna work. Although pessimistic people are a lot more realistic when it comes to judging their own abilities and what they might accomplish, optimistic people have way more room for growth. Seeing the glass as half full just creates this potential upside, this potential future where you could be better than you are today. So if you want to be more optimistic and less pessimistic, it's simply about removing the pessimistic aspects of your character and the sources of it in your life. Think about it. Who do you listen to? Who do you spend time with in your life that brings you down, that makes you feel negative, that makes you feel like you can't accomplish something? Well, these are the people that you need to start thinking about removing from your life. Now, I know that sounds pretty drastic and very intense and very transformational and epic, but really it's very simple. If somebody you spend time with is making you feel less about yourself, don't spend time with them. Just don't hang around them, because they're actually going to keep dragging you down. And although you might see them as your friend or somebody that you really care about because you have a long history with them, the history needs to end here. And the reason for that is when you surround yourself with pessimistic people, although they're very realistic and can give you a few notches down on your expectation and a little more of a real picture of what you might be able to do with your life, they also definitely create a huge cap off on your growth. And you have to start thinking about what you want. You have to start thinking about what you really desire, and anybody who doesn't fit into that needs to go. So think about it this way. The pessimistic people in your life, they usually have a few habits. And one of them will be to pay attention to the news, the media, keeping up with current day events. And the reason for that is obviously that you'd want to stay up to date with what's happening in the world. And it's so important to see what's going on. But the truth is, the more time you spend consuming news and, modern day media, mainstream media, the more stuffed your head is going to be of negative, bad things. And when you try to be optimistic and more positive in your life and try to accomplish a bigger goal, your head's gonna go, well, based on the information that we have been receiving over the past few years, all I really know is rape, war, and murder. How does that sound to you? Well, you're not going to be very inspired to go after your goal. You're not going to be full of joy and life and energy and just ready to take on the world. It's not gonna happen. Because all your head is filled with is this information about how everything goes bad. And I know you might say, well, I don't really identify with it. I'm just reading it objectively. Your subconscious mind doesn't know that. Your subconscious mind, all it knows is that a lot of bad things are happening in the world. And when that's what you have in the back of your head, being an optimistic person is almost impossible. Pay attention to those people around you that do watch the news, that listen to the radio all the time, that actually consume mainstream media, and look at their behavior. Look at what they talk about. Look at how they sound, how they walk, how they carry themselves. There's a certain aspect of heavy, dense energy, and you want to get rid of it. If you want to be more optimistic, it's all about lightening up. And the easiest way to do that is really to go out into nature, read a good book, meditate. These habits that disconnect you from all of the bad things going on in the world, and most importantly, connect you back to yourself. Because that's really what it's all about. To be more optimistic, we are very optimistic naturally. When we're young, we're pretty sure we can take on the world and be a superhero. But it's just about coming back to it. You don't have to try to be optimistic. All you have to do is cut out the negativity and the pessimism from your life and the people that are pessimistic from your life. And all of a sudden, guess what? You're an optimist. There are 3 things that need to be aligned for you to be a happy and highly fulfilled human being. Your thoughts, your words, and your actions. If any of these 3 doesn't line up with the other 2, you're in some deep trouble and we need to fix it. Otherwise, you're gonna feel very, very strange. There's a lot of that nagging feeling in the back of your head that you're doing something wrong. Your intuition is flaring up and telling you that, hey, you're not quite on track here. And generally, you just start feeling bad. And overall, your mood just starts to drop. And maybe you have a lot of moodiness where you're going up and down like a roller coaster. There's no stability. So we need to make sure that these 3 pieces are all working together so that you can ultimately enjoy your life to its highest potential. So how do we do that? Well, we start with the first one, and the first one is your thoughts. You have to make sure that you think about what you want and not what you don't want. Because the moment you start spending your time and attention getting upset and frustrated that you don't have this and you don't have that, you pretty much ruined your chances for ever getting what you did want, because you gave up all your thought power, all your mental faculties were occupied being frustrated and worried and concerned and upset. And we can't have any of that if we want you to live the ultimate life that you want to live and fulfill your dreams and be happy. That's not going to happen. So make sure that you are constantly thinking about what you want. A great term to remember is that your most dominant thought is what you will experience the most of. So if your most dominant thought is that nobody respects me, chances are you're going to find a way to experience that over and over and over again in your life. So if you want to be respected, change the thought to, I am respected. I am highly respected. In fact, I'm one of the most respected people in my community. And immediately, you'll start to find proof of that reality. Immediately, you start to shift the way that you think. And when you shift the way that you think, you'll start looking for proof to back that up. Now, once you get your thoughts into alignment, it's very important that you also focus on the second part, which is your words. You got to make sure that you're talking about those dreams, those aspirations, the things that you want, the respect that you desire. You got to communicate in ways to trigger and really make that be a real thing, so that it's not just something that you think about. It's not just something that's in the back of your head and that you're keeping to yourself and keeping down. You got to make it public. You got to voice it, commit to it fully by really externalizing and not just staying inside, not just thinking to yourself. Expressing it out into the world is just as important, because if that's out of alignment and you're thinking the right way, then you're just going to stay in your head and fantasize and dream about all these great things that could happen to you, instead of not only thinking that it's going to happen, also saying that it's going to happen. Talking about what you want just as much as you think about it, making sure that those 2 pieces are aligned. And finally, when you have those 2, the third one, and of course it is third, it's not first, you take the action. You think about what you want, you say you want it, and then you start moving. Then you start doing something. And now, finally, the whole puzzle comes together. Everything starts to make a lot more sense. You see, for a lot of people, they try to do something that they didn't think, and so they're saying something else, and so they're totally out of whack and out of alignment. They're not truly being themselves. They're not in full alignment. They're not really following what they want. One of those is out of place and it becomes miserable. So again, to make sure that you really capture this and that you really understand this and that it really sinks in for you, first, think about what you want, not what you don't want. Make sure it's aligned to what you ultimately desire. Secondly, make sure you talk about it. Be open about it. Express it. Don't be afraid to get criticized over it. Just make sure you're putting it out there. Finally, thirdly, take the action. Do what you're supposed to do. Do the thing that will get you the thing that you thought that you wanted and said that you wanted. That's how we create progress, and that's how we live happily and fulfilled and genuinely in alignment to ourselves. truly following our passion, truly following our desires, and being true to who we really are.